even more. We need offense. Yes, we need pitching for sure. But if we want to be back at the NLCS next year or years to come, we ain't getting past the Dodgers with just losing Pete Alonso and adding Juan Soto. Now you keep Pete Alonso, maybe you bring back Jesse Winker. Who knows? You bring in Juan Soto. Who cares? But even no matter who you get, Bregman, anybody, any big bat that's coming up in the free agents, you have to re-sign Alonso because the Dodgers lineup is stacked. Even the Phillies lineup is stacked. The Padres lineup is stacked. You need offense. Now, let's say the Mets do sign Soto. I'm not saying they are, but a lot of Mets fans are convinced that Soto will be a New York Mets simply because everyone knows he is going to take the most money, and Cohen is not afraid, I think, to offer him the most money. I still think he will remain a Yankee, but let's say he does, because that is a big factor on if the Mets are going to re-sign Pete Alonso. If they end up with Soto, I mean, do we really care if they don't get Alonso? I mean, I think we kind of should. One, yes, he's a homegrown Met, 6 seasons here. A lot of moments that he produced in the postseason for us. You want to see him in a Met uniform forever, for sure. But not even that. Like I said before, if we want to get past the Phillies and the Dodgers for years to come in the future, if we want to get past Ohtani, Mookie, Freddie Freeman next year, because we can really be back next year. I really think we can. We are much better than, like I said before, we are much better than I thought we were at the beginning of 2024. I said in the beginning of 2024 that if we sign JD Martinez, Lindor plays the way he did in the second half, and we get some good stuff out of this pitching staff, then we will for sure be in the postseason. Now, I didn't think they would go on this type of run in the postseason, even going into the playoffs. I didn't think the Mets were going to be this good, and they were. You know, I was getting ready. I mentally prepared myself for a first round in the wild card exit or the NLDS exit. I mentally prepared myself for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do it for the NLCS. I didn't, because going into the series, I was like, you know what, the Mets can actually do this. And then we got a reality check, and that reality check is that the Dodgers' offense is insane. And if we want to go up against it, not only do I think signing Juan Soto is a good option, I think bringing back Pete Alonso is just the right option. No matter what happens, bring him back. It's hard to replace that. You know, Alonso, you look at his career numbers. This was a down year for him, and he hit 34 home runs. But Pete, this year he finished with a 240 batting average, 788 OPS, 34 home runs. That's a down year for him somehow. Yes, with runners in scoring position, he didn't hit, but we all thought he wasn't big time, and he showed up in big time moments in the playoffs. So I think we can put that to rest. But you look at his whole entire career outside of the COVID year. Let's talk 5 full seasons for Pete Alonso. 3 of those he hit over 40 home runs. 1 of those he hit over 50. So 3 seasons out of all his full seasons, 5 full seasons, 3 of them over 40 home runs, over 100 RBIs. How are you going to replace that? Because in 2022, when we won over 100 games, you take Pete Alonso off that team, we don't win over 100 games. And even if you take Pete Alonso off this team, how are you fixing the 34 home runs this year? How many RBIs did he have this year? I actually don't know how many RBIs he had this year. But anyways, let's see right here. We're pulling it up. Thank you. Pete this year had 88 RBIs, and that's a down year, like I said before, for him. And he also played in 160 games. That's another big factor. You look at his career overall, 2023, 154, 2022, 160, 2021, 152, and then 2019, 161, 2020, 57 out of the 60. So Alonso is durable. He's never really gotten hurt. And he's a consistent guy that's going to provide you, I'd say, at least 40 home runs. The last time he had a down year was 2021. He bounced back and had a career year in 2022. I mean, a career year for him is really 2019, but I mean, after that, 2022, it's a toss-up there. I mean, he only hit 40 home runs on the dot, but he led the MLB in RBIs with 131 that year. He also had a 271 batting average, 870 OPS. So he was he was spraying the ball all over, not just home runs. Extra base hits in the clutch, too. Like I said before, you take him off that 2022 roster, they don't win 100 games. And then in 2024, I mean, he hit 240. And then you look at his number, like, that's not bad. I mean, in 2023, he hit 217. But I think Pete Alonso at his best is 2021. 2021 even, he had 262 and 37 bombs. So this was his worst year for sure, but I don't think it necessarily means that Pete's on the decline. He can 100% bounce back. We saw it in the postseason. He still has it. Boom or doom for the Mets from Bobby's in spit. We're going boom, man. We're going boom. I think we're going to be right back in the NLCS in 2024. Mark my words right now. Rizzler or Big Justice? Duh. Rizzler, man. Rizzler's for the Mets, baby. Yankees got Big Justice still. They got the boom for sure. But we got the Riz. We got the Riz. But Rizzler does want Pete. Rizzler wants Pete. Okay. Rizzler wants Pete. I think every Met fan wants Pete Alonso at this point, though. I really do. You got to bring him back. It's going to be hard to replace his production in that lineup. I mean, his overall numbers over his career suggest that he's not going to be on a decline. He just had a down year. And like I said before, this is a down year for him, really. 34 home runs, 88 RBIs. But another takeaway I had from this playoffs for the Mets, Mark Vientos is for sure a future all-star, maybe even next year. I mean, you look at his numbers. I included his numbers with the postseason because he played in only 110 games in the regular season, and that's after he got called up. Didn't miss any time due to injury or anything like that. But he had 27 home runs in 110 games. That's intriguing. Think about that over 162 games. Even like 140, 150. But in 124 games, that's including the postseason, Vientos hit 274, 32 home runs with 84 games. A 24-year-old hit 32 home runs and 85 RBIs. We got to start talking about Mark Vientos a lot more. Mark Vientos isn't just a young prospect that's performing. No, Mark Vientos is a guy, is one of the guys, maybe even going into next year, the best overall hitter on the Mets. I mean, Lindor, like I said a few weeks ago, he's 100% the best player on the Mets all around. And you could even say he's the best hitter. But it remains to be seen with Mark Vientos. It's definitely a toss-up. And I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think it's a bad take. Just look at the numbers. Vientos, let's put it up on the screen. 274 batting average, 32 home runs, 85 RBIs, and 124 games, including the postseason and regular season. I think Vientos is legit. He showed that in the playoffs. I mean, he's up there for postseason MVP in the National League. Mark Vientos in the postseason, his overall numbers in the 13 games, 327 batting average, 362 on base percentage, 998 OPS, 5 home runs, tied with Giancarlo Stanton right now. 18 hits across those 13 games, 14 RBIs across those 13 games, scored 8 times. So Vientos, yeah, he's got it in him. I think he's a future all-star as soon as next year, as long as he stays healthy. Knocking on wood there. But, I mean, there's no doubt about it. This guy needs to be talked about more. Going into next year, he's going to be one of the best hitters in the lineup. I think it attracts guys like Juan Soto or Alex Bregman to come to this team even more now that you have, even no matter what happens with Alonso, you still have Lindor and Vientos who have the potential to hit over 30 home runs next year. And Vientos, we don't even know. Maybe he can over 40, like I said before, depending on how many games he plays. He hit 27 in 110. So, yeah. And another takeaway is that we need pitching. We need freaking pitching because you look at the players that we're losing as free agents. Pete Alonso is definitely Luis Severino and Jose Quintana, 3 big pieces of the Mets. We're also losing Ryan Stanek out of the bullpen. He's really the only guy I'd re-sign bullpen-wise. So bring back Stanek. Sean Manaea is really the only guy I'd bring back starting-wise, too. I mean, Severino, I think he had a great year. I think it's definitely a toss-up to bring him back, maybe on another 1 or 2 year deal. But I don't think we should bring back Jose Quintana. David Peterson, his left-hand arm, I think is good enough. And you got to look at bringing in an actual ace. And I know Kodai Senga is an ace, but we need more. We need freaking more. You look at the 2015 Mets. What do they have? They had pitching. DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard. Like, we were lights out. That's what carried us into the World Series that year. It wasn't as much as it was the bats. Yes, Daniel Murphy, Cespedes, Curtis Granderson even had a good World Series. David Wright had some moments. But it was the pitching. And the Mets need more of that. Luckily, I want Sean Manaea back. I think we have the leverage there. He does have a player option. He's definitely going to decline it. He's due. He earned whatever money he's going to get. He earned. He had a great year. And in the postseason, he delivered outside of the last game against the Dodgers. But you got to some of these arms that are in free agency. My dog hears somebody else's dog barking. Great. But you got to like some of these other arms in free agency. So bring back Manaea or Severino for sure. But if you can bring in like a Blake Snell or a Corbin Burns will be free agents, I think that's even better. Now, I'd say get Snell, get Manaea. Give me him, Snell, Manaea, Peterson as those left-handers. You got Senga, and then throw McGill in there at number 5. Why not? I think that'd be an elite rotation that gets them back to the NLCS. You look at Blake Snell's numbers after, let's see. Overall, Blake Snell didn't really have a great year. He started off the year slow, but that's due to part. He didn't sign until the MLB year started in 2024. But you look at his stats in the last, and this is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner I'm talking about too. So I think, we should target Blake Snell. Blake Snell in the last 15 games of 2024, 5-0, ERA of 1.48, 121 strikeouts. That's an ace. That's an ace. Give him a 3-4 year deal. I mean, he's legit. You can say confidently that guy's going to give you work. So I'd go out there. I'd get Snell. I'd re-sign Manaea. And like I said, that completes your rotation right there. That's Snell, Senga, Manaea, Peterson, and McGill. And then you got to just add some bullpen arms from there. Like I said, starts with signing Ryan Stanek. Devin Williams is reportedly on the trade block. I mean, maybe if you really want to go for it, go for it. You know, Cohen, everyone's saying he's afraid to spend after the Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer scenario. But then again, those were veterans over 40 years old. He's not going to be afraid to go after a Soto or a Devin Williams. Like, these guys are young. They still got years left in them. So, Blake Snell, on the other hand, he's not that old either. I mean, how old is Blake Snell? Let's see. He's north of 30. 31 years old. 3 to 4 year deal. Why not? Let's do it. That's what I do. That gets the Mets back to the NLCS. And will the Mets bring in Juan Soto? I have no freaking clue. But like I said before, Cohen has a lot of money. And Cohen, yes, maybe he was hesitant to spend money last offseason because there wasn't a particular guy he liked. But also, the guys he did let go, they were over 40 years old too. You got to take that into account. He's not afraid to spend on the young guys. I mean, he gave Lindor $300 million. He gave Brandon Nimmo over $160 million. Gave Senga $75 million, and he hadn't even thrown a single pit in the MLB before he got that contract. So, if I'm Cohen, I'm throwing the world at Juan Soto. Because like I said before, what I do this offseason, I re-sign Manaea, I re-sign Ryan Stanek, build the bullpen up a little bit more outside of there. I'm not going to tell you which bullpen arm is going to be great. Because let's be real, David Stearns, he can put the pieces together with the bullpen. I can confidently say that. But what I will say is Soto, Manaea, and Snell. Give me those 3, and that's the perfect Mets offseason right there. And then also re-sign Alonso, of course. Then that would cap off the perfect Mets offseason. And then I would really consider bringing back Jesse Winker. Because Jesse Winker had a phenomenal postseason, and that's what I'll end on. You look at Jesse Winker's numbers for the freaking Mets in the playoffs. I mean, even in game 6, 1 for 3 again. Finished the postseason with a 318 batting average in 10 games, 1.167 OPS, scored 7 times, got on base with 7 walks. Even at a huge stolen base, that got us the insurance run against Milwaukee in game 3 of the wild card. So I think you got to even talk about re-signing Jesse Winker too.